Do you know what would be a great one, which is possibly happening because the medical could be happening right now?
Yep.
Right. George Byers to Sheffield Wednesday.
This one I don't get. And I'll tell you in a bit why I don't get it.
Right. We've been linked with George Byers. Several journalists have said it was close. We talked today on Twitter about a medical from a few people that's coming up. We're waiting on some things. He's 25. He made 56 appearances for Swansea over his career there and has scored 4 goals. He's a midfielder, obviously. He's made 14 appearances at Portsmouth on loan last season, and they were keen to have him back, apparently. So, what do you think on this one?
Good, very good player. What we kind of need is a kind of another creative midfielder because we don't have another one apart from Bannan. And with Bannan now being out with a back injury, this kind of makes sense.
I think people are forgetting this wing can play
wing
can play higher up as well, yeah.
But the thing that's getting me, has he been told he can go and he's going to get released and it's a free? Because if we can't pay money for him, he's under contract. And people keep saying, is it a loan or is it a free?
And then the other one that they're saying is it a player swap, but we'll get into that in a minute.
Yeah.
The worrying thing that brings it to that. Right, let's talk about George Byers as a player first before we talk about how we're going to get him. Would you see him one that you wanted here?
Yes, just for the backup that we need in certain positions, if that makes sense. We don't have a great... He can play... He plays higher up, but I think at Swansea he was playing more as a CDM at times. But the other thing is that a lot of Swansea fans have said he can be a little bit petulant child and throw his dummies out if you don't get it once.
I've got to say, though, he's been there for 5 years.
Doesn't stand for that kind of stuff. You can tell already. And maybe it's another case of it's a player that just needs a fresh start. Here comes your fresh start.
Yeah, I get you. He's been at Swansea for 5 seasons, right? And he was in there under 23s when they were in the Premier League, and then from 2018 he started making appearances for him. But obviously on last season, the season before, he made 35 appearances for them, and then they sent him on loan last season to where he made 14 appearances. He
got injured as well.
It could very much be a case of let's terminate his contract and let him go because he's under contract.
Worry, they don't have a manager at the minute.
Yeah.
Their manager situation could go for that because you could have a new bloke who goes, everyone's on a fresh start, let's go.
Would you? I think he'd... We got dogs going off there.
Ambulance had gone past and get him.
I didn't even know you had a dog.
Yeah, I've got a German Shepherd cross with a Doberman.
How do I not know this 29 episodes in?
Yeah. He's 10 in August.
Right. Anyway, there's George Byers. I think if you look at the midfield when we could have him in there, we've got Bannan, Bashiru, Adeniran, Byers, Luongo. There's one more.
Adeniran?
I've already said him.
Who's one more?
Who am I missing? Wing.
Yeah.
That's 6. That's your magic number for if you're going to play 3 in the midfield, right?
That's your rotation.
You've got your rotation. You got your depth. You got your bench players. It would make sense.
Yeah.
I'd have Byers in that. I'd complete the circuit. However, we could be bringing him in on player swap, right? I do disagree with this in a weird way, but the player swap thing and the fact we can't make fees does get me worrying a slight bit because does it mean Barry Bannan's off because Swansea are one of the clubs that he was linked with? Swansea and Brentford, the Swansea interest. It wasn't that big, right? When we looked at the sources for the Swansea interest, it didn't look very legitimate, right?
It still doesn't now, though.
It does worry me, though, that we are linked with a player that's under contract at Swansea. We can't sign players, but there might be a loophole if you play a swap. And they could play a swap and put some cash our way with it. That's what I'm thinking.
Lie, swapping a 24-year-old for a 31-year-old is a good deal, but it's Barry Bannan. We know what he can do.
Here's the thing. I could see it also happening as well, because what does Chansiri do that? Yes, we're losing Barry Bannan. But he goes... I swap...
£27,000 off the wage bill as well.
Yes, I'll take that off the wage bill. We'll swap these players. We'll get a player in there, and they can give us like 2 million with him. Or $1 million with him. We'll have a nice lump of cash with him because Swansea can afford to do that. thank you very much, I'll have your hand off. I would be gutted, and so would Maple Leaf, one of our community subscribers, who says, Dex and Punk, what percentage chance do you give it that Bannan is an owl for the full 21-22 season? For me, I give it a 25% chance that is here beyond this transfer window. With all these quality loan signings and our wage bill is increasing, albeit nothing in comparison to last year, and taking off Bannon's 30 to 35k a week, I think it's more like 24 now.
Yeah.
And 1.2 million pounds wouldn't hurt the bottom line. I love the guy. I want him to stay, but I think we may need to start getting prepared. So Wednesday fans are
why Byers
worrying.
Is coming in.
Yeah.
This is the thing. You look at who we're bringing in, and I had this similar thing. Where if you look at the team more he's building a team for the future, and he's building ready for when certain players need to go. And you can see that in the positions he's getting in. He's seen it. Bannan, as much as he's been a good servant for us, he's 31. If he stays until the end of the contract, brilliant. But he's still going to be like 31, 32. He's an aging player. Because he doesn't do a lot of running in terms of going forward, he runs after the ball because he's a mentalist. There's a time where you see Barry Bannan running, you're like, he's never going to get that, and he reaches it. But Bannan, for me, it's 45%, 50-50. It all depends on what the mindset Bannan is and stuff. And the thing is, you've also got to remember, Barry Bannan might not want to move.
I look at it all and I go, I can see it makes sense on paper financially. I don't want to lose Barry Bannan.
No one does.
I don't know. There is some idiots in our fan base. Yeah, as we established last season. Barry Bannan's a crap player according to them, but these are the same people that just... Yeah, well, you see that for some reason they get recommended on my Twitter sometimes, and there's a lovely corner of them, and it's always the same icons, and I'm like, you are somebody I would not want to be around. I hope you never sit near me. But it's definitely one that I could see happening. I don't want it to happen, but a swap deal could be imminent. The more we've talked about it, and the more we looked at that, I actually worry with the fee thing that a swap deal could be the only way this gets done, unless they're terminating his contract.
A Swansea fan who I know has said Byers is the kind of player we would terminate his contract, then needing completely the next season because we've messed it up. We are in that kind of a mess at the minute. They are in such a recruitment issue. I think they're about to get rid of Matt Grimes. Is it Matt Grimes? That sounds right. He's about to leave. There's a lot of players who are suddenly about to go. And it's all because the structure at Swansea gone to pot.
Right.
And people are not happy. So it could be one of those ones where, you know what, I'm not going to get played, am I? Even if a new bloke comes in, you're going to want to bring his own players in. Can I have my contract ripped up? I'm going to play football. And the player could act. Because I can't see him being on much.
Yeah. We'll see what happens. It'll be interesting to see.